welcome back. It has been a while. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Search and Rescue Helicopter 241 is back in the mix. A little bit of an update here and there after the dev team released their latest stream, which I believe was a little bit over 2 hours long, had a bunch of information in it, and once again, it didn't include very much information about the search and rescue world, and it's something I honestly expected to see, but that's okay. We're going to get over it. It's not too far off. I believe some of these updates that they're going to be pushing can be done on the server's side. I'm still experiencing quite a few issues with the generation of missions, as you can see here. I have 2 available in this general vicinity, when every once in a while we'll see this in the same area, and then we'll do a couple of these missions and they will just vanish. I'm not sure exactly why that is. I hope we can get it fixed soon, but for now, let's just get up in the air and conduct some search and rescue missions. If you have any questions, feel free to chat them up. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I don't know if it's just the most frustrating thing on the planet to fly these missions or what. But you can't tell me that wasn't a stable platform to land on. My aircraft was perfectly there on the hillside, in idle. Just unflippin' believable. And these issues get no attention. They quoted a number of 50,000 bugs were written prior to their launch. They had fixed 32,000 of those bugs, which left over 18,000 bugs when they launched. And they knew that they launched with 18,000 bugs. What a tragedy. What a tragedy for this namesake. You gotta wonder how many times that's gonna happen this time around. Doesn't happen often. I am almost always able to land at that location. But it is the first mission of the day. It was quite windy. So, we shall see what continues to happen. One thing for sure is my FPS performance right now is actually suffering pretty greatly because I have a lot of these settings right now pushed to ultra. Might just change that back. It's very unfortunate because that's, I mean, man, just such a waste of time. Either way, it is stick time for career mode, even though the mission ended poorly. My passive income is still generating lots of money. Landing light on. Might use a little twist grip action here, put this thing into a flight ready configuration. What do you think? A little pitot tube action, a little more octane. Wait for those numbers to come back down. This thing could definitely use a bird bath, but it doesn't seem to do anything every time I do a bird bath or even a complete repaint. Nothing happens to the outside of the aircraft, it just stays this way. It's all just random. And again, these issues are nowhere on the radar as far as I can tell. The ground effects issue has been fixed for the most part. Still think the wind is coming in a little bit aggressive, but you know what? That's life. Just drops right out of the sky. All right, let's try another one. I much prefer the H125 any day of the week. And the fact that there's now going to be a delay in the marketplace. And man, I honestly don't know what to think about the simulator at this point. All I know is it's extremely disappointing. When it comes to the career mode, I hope they fix it sooner than later, but it does not sound like it because Jorg was quite irritated. I don't know. There's a lot to be fixed, though. They did say that some of the mission sets for the Charter VIP missions, of course, in the fixed wing side of things, those were being generated based off of real world events. I don't see why that would be remotely related to search and rescue or how those are being developed or populated or who's doing that exactly, but there is definitely a glitch going on because there are days where I just have, you know, a ton of missions. There's just a ton of them, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And they'll show up and only for a couple of flights. You get 2 of them done, and then we're back to 7 missions around the planet. I don't know. And they did say that there were 1,000 bugs that they were fixing with this first update, but not one of them was related to search and rescue helicopter, at least that they discussed, or I could find any kind of research on at all. So I have a feeling these are going to exist for several months. Maybe even update 2 or 3. Because again, these issues are just being pushed so far down the ladder. Out of all of the issues and bugs that are being reported in the forums, I mean, this specific issue only has 2 votes to it, so that's definitely bottom of the barrel, so I'm not seeing any improvements happening to these systems anytime soon. Some of them work, some of them don't. If you want it to work every single time, go fly the H125 in free flight and just use that fold-out iPad and you're golden, but anything in career mode is kind of a roll of the dice. smoke. It just wants to drop out of the sky, though. I just don't understand it. They say that the physics is fixed. There was only one plane that could be used as the ground, and the helicopters were recognizing that there were two, but I'm over the flat Earth, and it just doesn't matter what you do with these flippin' missions. I don't care what anyone says. Marseille, Jorg, you have not fixed this. 2 missions in a row, perfectly located, everything's good to go, and your system crashes it. I dare you to tell me once more that this issue was fixed. It's not fixed. It's absolutely broken. And it's the most disappointing thing I think I've ever come across. We do have other missions available. Let's see if these end in just as much disaster. I mean, I have 11 of these things spread around the planet right now. So for me to get from one spot to another isn't much, but when each and every one of these things is ending in a bug that they just literally said that they fixed prior to the first major update, they did this, you know, as one of the server-side pushes. But they said that that issue was fixed. What a load of crap. This is just an absolute train wreck. I don't know what else to call it. Round 3. Another just super windy day. Gotta love it. again, just right out of the sky. It's just stupid. Tell me it was fixed one more time, please. At least they didn't crash me as soon as I took off. I'll give them that. I'm curious if everyone else is having these same issues, if this is widespread or not. I just barely have any words for it. It's just it's tragic. It's pure tragic. I did appreciate the fact that Jorg said that they will never relaunch another piece of software without doing at least a year's worth of beta and alpha testing based off of this experience. We need to do proper beta and alpha testing prior to launch. You're just learning that now? What? How many? Well, I can't. I hope it is widespread, you know, Northland Air. Appreciate you stopping in. It's got to be widespread. Have you seen any missions just generate all of a sudden and then disappear? Are you seeing the same thing? Ground physics not working still? I mean, I'll leave alone the fact that we still can't use the hoist over land. Man, unbelievable. Alright, well, at least I know it's not just me. Hopefully you guys are getting over to the forums and making votes on these so we can get these issues, you know, higher up on the chain. Because apparently that list is humongous. I mean, if they're doing 1,000 bug fixes in one go. Oh, man. And they said that there was 18,000 left to be fixed that they were aware of when they launched. That means there's still another 17,000 bug fixes to be made. I mean, a year would have saved them a lot of time, but it's going to take more than a year to get 17,000 bug fixes in place. That's an incredible amount of failure, if you ask me. And yet they're still breaking records for the MAU, most active users. It's absolutely unreal. had so many of those same issues, man. Lately, though, I've been able to, and this is wild that this is happening so far today, but lately I've been able to finish every single one of these missions without a problem. And today, for some reason, can't land any of them. So I was doing something similar to what you did, going out and flying other missions. Sightseeing is a good way to just put stick time in to your career mode, so your passive income is earning good. I mean, I've got 13 aircraft. I can earn over 2 million in about 5 hours between the passive income and what I'm earning in real time. Some of those flight seeing missions wind up where you're at the airport and the hold short actually jumps from one spot to the next, and then it finally triggers a parking spot, which goes and does the same thing. It triggers a parking spot to just move around the airfield. I'm not getting so many dings for the hold short, but I will get the infraction for the takeoff, failure to announce takeoff, even though you don't even have the opportunity to, and your quick reply isn't functioning at all. It's pretty wild. And how it varies too, you know what I mean? Sometimes it'll work, like I said, without a problem. I mean, I've been flying these enough to have 13 choppers in my hangar right now. You know, I've been finishing these missions, but most of my income is being made with the cargo hook missions off of the Gulf of Mexico on the oil rigs. The money to be made out there is everything you want it to be. It's like 100K, 150K per mission, like 57 at the low end, but you can finish these missions in like 10 minutes. So you fly there, you earn like a $500,000, you know, turn around, get into a flight seeing chopper, run a few of those missions for a while. The DLSS is actually extremely important to the mapping of the ground textures and how your helicopter is reacting to it too. If you're still getting that jumping bean of a helicopter in the hangar or starting a mission, that all has to do with your DLSS settings, oddly enough. Something about the fidelity in the ground overreacting to the helicopter or an airplane or anything it may be, and it turns it into a bouncing bean. At least that's what I've discovered. I haven't seen them report anything on that, even in the slightest. Actually forget where the survivor is in this one. I also noticed something striking within that meeting as well, that live dev stream. Jorg put up a screenshot of all of the logos of the partner companies that are contributing. And I noticed some changes. Unless there were just slides that weren't seen. Hype Performance Group was no longer a part of that list of companies. I don't know what happened in the background or if you guys happened to notice that, Or, like I said, maybe it's just a slide that we didn't see. Maybe there were supposed to be 2 slides of partners, but Hype did not appear as a partner anymore. And you know that they were responsible for a lot of the development of search and rescue missions and the overall career mode. At least it was to my understanding. And now they're not a part of it anymore? I don't know if I'm misreading that, but yeah, very interesting. SoCal Jerry, good to see you again, my friend. I am very well, thank you. How are you? It's actually the end of a long 2-month vacation here for me. Going back to work Monday finally. Well, the reason this might look washed out, dank matter, is I actually have some of the NVIDIA filters on right now, taking some of the exposure down, because when you're in the mountains around the snow, it tends to be over bright and way too white. So I have the NVIDIA working with a filter. Take some of the brightness out of the image. Just right through the NVIDIA app. Alt-Z on the keyboard brings up the options. Right now my graphic settings are too close to ultra. I didn't actually change them back before the stream. So I'm getting a pretty low frame rate right now. Just because of the streaming software. Yeah, Jorg was being pretty forthright in that meeting, and he took charge quite a few times where he wanted to talk to the public, and I commend him for doing it. He like literally interrupted sometimes, like, hey, can we get back to the questions that people are asking? The only thing I see is that they're still not covering very much along the rotorcraft way of things. They're specifically putting most of their energy into their bread and butter, which is the fixed wing side of both career mode and free flight. But they also have noticed that more people are using career mode than free flight. So we're getting a backseat on a couple of different rides. The way he was taking charge, though, he seemed a little bit off-put by some of the things that were going on. And I can't blame him for it. Samurai, good to see you, my man. Good to see you again. I am flying, I believe this is the Alps. Just a regular career mode, search and rescue. So far, the first couple have ended with the helicopter being dramatically and inappropriately wrecked. Haven't been able to complete a single mission since we started. Don't exactly recall where this specific individual is. Yeah, it's pretty typical, isn't it, Samurai? Absolutely. Northland Air, that HPG 145 is by far my favorite. And I don't know if you're a part of their Discord or anything like that, but they just put out a survey about trying to put a different variant of that helicopter into the mix with a 5-blade E version. And my response to that is no thanks. Can we just get a Black Hawk helicopter? I want like a, you know what I mean? I want a real nice Black Hawk for this simulator. No one has come close to making one that works well that I've seen. And if we can get one with a working hoist that will eventually be able to drop into the now delayed marketplace, that would be fantastic. But 5, yeah, good. What did you say in the survey? I don't really care about the 5-bladed. I think it's doing just fine the way it is. %. Let's get an MH60 in there. A T or something, you know. Something usable, trimmable, something that can handle flying in a cloud. That's another thing that just irritates the daylights out of me with these search and rescue missions, is if you skim a low-hanging cloud at all, it also gives you, you know, an infraction. Like, come on. You don't think search and rescue helicopters fly in the clouds? I feel your pain on that one, Samurai. I get it. Hopefully it works out for you, though. I also see a lot of smearing in the graphics lately, too. Yeah. I do also appreciate that they said that they were going to incorporate DLSS 4 into the base sim as well. Still not using any frame gen mods. Too many reports of those things having a lot of glitches to it, so. I don't care, my 2080 Ti is still doing the trick. Looking for a missing caravan out near Nome. Lots of clouds, winds, blowing snow. Man, brutal. A whole caravan, huh? Oh, he... What? What, dude? Man, that's pretty serious, Samurai. You be safe, brother. That's crazy. What is going on with people? With the samurai sword. Did you stay within your house with it? Because, I mean, where I'm from, we're able to defend our property. If you feel threatened, you're able to defend your property inside of your home. Where is this dude? Let's take a peek over this ridge one more time. That's crazy, dude. Hope that works out for you. What's gonna suck is if it takes this long to do this mission and it just crashes again. Threadripper. I wonder how many times I might have to loop around this spot. crazy. Literally, I think I've been around this entire search area twice. Yeah, man, once I changed some of the graphics settings on the NVIDIA app and I started tweaking with, you know, like the contrast and brightness and exposure settings, I'm getting a much better image out of it, I think. Especially when I'm not streaming, I get a much better FPS. I was also, speaking of glaciers and everything like that, right? Like fidelity in the scenery. One thing that Jorg mentioned again that I was pretty happy about was the attention he's going to pay to the Dolomites. That's one of the areas that they are going to put a little more effort into refining the mesh, which should be super cool. I see the smoke finally. No, I have not tried reshade. Alright, now this one I know is a lot of the time a stupid train wreck just because, again, I need to be using the hoist in this situation. I could probably restart and get a little bit of a response time, but whatever's clever. So what I'm going to do is actually come in and try to do a one skid landing basically right near that tent. And just try to get it into a really nice stadium. I will quote unquote try for the nice steady hover, and hopefully we don't get smashed into the mountain here. Basically want my props kind of on top of the tent. And then I'm just going to feather collective until I'm down. Looks like I got it. Parking brake's not effective. I'm already airborne. Still no smoke physics. Nope. Of course not. That was only promised to us way back in, I don't know how long ago that was. But that is also something that does work sporadically and at different altitudes. So if you're a little bit higher in the smoke, it will react, but if you're right on top of it, it doesn't. At least we were able to complete one without a crash. One out of 3 ain't bad. I love it. Don't jinx it yet, right? Mission ain't over yet. I haven't landed at the helicopter's port yet. I'm nowhere near the airport. Hilarious. And I think there's only like 4 or 5 more missions to go before the planet's dry completely again. Heat blur is just so big. I mean, that shouldn't be blurring out the side of the helicopter at this angle. That's crazy. It's like a 45-degree cone, no matter how fast you're going. And honestly, I don't think that their physics demonstration that they put on about the wake turbulence, I don't think that's active in this simulator whatsoever either. I haven't had any negative impact on flying close to other aircraft or other aircraft flying close to me. Just not a thing. Man, would an autopilot be nice or what? Is what a setting you can turn off? Which part? Because I highly doubt it. Smoke physics? No, that should just come in the base sim. I haven't seen anything in any menu regarding turning off smoke interactions. Oh, the wake turbulence. No, and again, in your career mode even, you have to fly in real weather or whatever, you know, stuff like that. There's those regulations in place, I guess you could call them. But I haven't seen a spot where you can turn on or off wake turbulence in any menu either. I know there's a option to turn off the visualization of your turbulence, but whether or not it's impacting the aircraft is something that should always be taking place. And even in that visualization, I don't think a wake turbulence is being displayed. I have honestly never checked it, because it's one of the most annoying things to look at, and it doesn't look anything like their demonstration did. It's the green spaghetti lines, and theirs was heat mapped. Like, it's completely different than what's actually in the simulator. We're still getting some of the entries that are flipped around backwards too. If it wants you to come into like runway 0 or 36, it'll have you coming in the complete opposite 180. So paying attention to that when you're doing your approaches is still a thing. That has to be something that can be fixed on the server side too, I would think. But it does affect multiple parts of the simulator, so that's going to affect both career and free flight, so maybe not. Thanks for stopping in, Northland Air. Appreciate you being here. Especially watching while you work. Cheers, bro. So close, yet so far. But now Samurai's got me like thinking, I don't know, maybe I did jinx this. Hasn't been working out too great so far. Very cool, man. Yeah, I hope you do get acquitted on that too, man. It would be absolutely just wrong if you didn't, but I don't see it going any other way but in your favor, my man. It still hasn't caught me on a final. I'm not going to get the infraction. I'm just going to do a quick little spin around here. I wanted to go for my helicopter license quite a few years ago, and I had to put that one away. Wow, dude, really? I never knew that about British Airways. That's pretty incredible right there. Very cool. It's finally got me on the final. See, I'm supposed to be landing at runway 30, but this is saying make an approach to 12. Never fails. I'll take it. That'll be one in the books finally. The Honorable Company of Air Pilots will cover it, really. That's great information, guys. Time to get this pilot a cup of joe. Yo. Thank you very much, SoCal. I do finally have my passive incomes working pretty aggressively. I'm up to 13 aircraft in the hangar so far. Passively, I can earn about 1.7 million in a little over 5 hours of flight. Since we do have some windy conditions today, I'm only going to wait until that spins down to under the 170 mark before I bring my brake into play. Yep. It's actually taken me quite a while to get there, but I find that the cargo hook missions are just such a great way to earn a lot of money quick. Buying the aircraft becomes pretty simple. You can keep an S rating doing those cargo missions off the Gulf of Mexico easily. I'm going to actually take a hit with that rating because of this mission. And of course, the last two crashes. Not bad. 102K. Well, we're at a level 275 at this point. 13 aircraft, 5.4 million overall. The company itself is doing pretty well. Passive incomes here. I'm really looking forward to these being corrected too, because the way this is being broken up right now doesn't make any sense at all. Total passive incomes is over 5 million at this point with 496 flights. My goodness, I don't think I spend very much time doing anything other than flying this simulator at this point. Well, that one was in the United States. And again, this just blows me away. Like, here we go again with these missions being generated for aircraft that I don't even fly. I don't even have a company for these missions. And when these are being generated, like, there's not going to be any search and rescue missions. For some reason, it switched me over to employee mode. The one up in Alaska is not available. hasn't been here in quite a while. The hardest one tends to show up sporadically. This actually was not here when I started flying today. And then this area is hit or miss. Like, normally this is what this looks like for me. Right? Normally this is what it looks like. It has probably 13 different missions on it, but some days it literally just generates these 2. Down in the Australia, there's only 1 mission being generated down here, and these are all repetitive. They're the same missions every single time. Persian Gulf is a really good spot for oil platforms. I think I have 2 of those Hook 125s at this point, and I'm running one near New Zealand and the other one in the Gulf of Mexico. Got 1 flight seeing bird on the west coast of the US at this point, and I'll run those missions just to get a little bit more stick time if I don't want to do a search and rescue mission, or if there aren't any more available. Don't feel like doing a Hook mission, you know, just kind of throw a little variety into the mix. Garmin finally turned on this time. I'm going to go ahead and call it the Gulf of Mexico, because we always know that, just like the Sears Tower, I'm always going to refer to it with what I just am used to. I can't consider it the Willis Tower. You know what I mean? It's always going to be the Sears to me. Still got that dirty windshield. I think after this mission, we'll apply some maintenance to the bird. I think this one just happens to be almost in the middle of a field. Can we make it 50% completed missions today? I don't know if the chat is going to allow for full links to be added to it, but if you leave out the .com part and just put in the previous text, I think that that may work. That FPS is brutal right now. Nope. Haven't seen any links yet, Samurai. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Yeah, this one's really close. Super close. It's one of the few that's just a short trip away from the base. It's actually not bad. Yeah, a couple of the water rescues are like that too, where you can actually even see the raft before you get to the search area. I actually haven't been doing many of the water rescues simply because there aren't any available. All 7 of the available missions that I normally get, sometimes 8, they're always over land and they're repetitive. And then randomly, poof, there's 13 in this one spot. Do a couple and then there's no more. Yeah, I've done the one New York rescue too. That was there quite a while ago. I was able to do that like once or twice, but that was it. Hasn't shown up since. Pretty quick mission. Little zippity doo-dah right there. Let's see if we're coming in 3-2. I should be. Yes, I am. Oh, another one around Tangier and Gibraltar, too. Interesting. Yeah, that's one thing I really want to start doing with some of the extra cash is opening up more and more areas around the planet. Park on the other side of the trees this time. Yeah, I've spent a pretty considerable amount of cash going around the planet, but not like, I would say it's probably like 1.5 million at this point. Especially before I had a lot of aircraft, just because it was more expensive per transfer. And now I had, you know, got a whole bunch of those missions in the Alps, so I put, I think it was either 4 or 5 helicopters in that one spot. But yeah, I need to start getting some on different continents and in different density areas. That one came down pretty nicely. Background effect wasn't over the top or anything like that. Not bad. But when you're unlocking those different areas of the map, Samurai, are you seeing more missions generated, or are you still on like a mission diet? Because, I mean, I've been on a diet for a while, and it was much more aggressive prior. But still, it's not what it could be. Only bring it down to the 170 mark again. Sometimes, yeah, okay. That should be a good size S right there. Might even bring the overall rating back up to an S. Definitely going to need to get it there before I duck out. So when UTC rolls around, that income could be calculated off of an S rating. Boom, bada bang. That's how it's done. Barely. Barely. See what else we got. I think the Western U.S. still has a couple of missions available. Let's come out to Walden. Let that load in. I try to get the hundreds across the board on every mission. Sometimes it just takes me way too long to actually find them. A little bit more octane in there. Yep, come on, go back. Still looking good. We'll give her a little bit of a wash, even though it's not going to matter. It would be nice to see out of a clean windshield, though. Not as windy. I like how you can actually immediately get a reference of your wind speed by your flags. Not the door I wanted to open, but thanks anyway. Oh, it is a clean windshield. What? Hello. It worked for a change. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, SoCal. Is my main character modeled after anyone? Not anyone in particular, no. It doesn't even really look like me that much. I just wanted somebody with like the military gear. Closest thing that they had to a search and rescue pilot was the like G suit. Yeah, it's crazy how sporadic it is. I want to say that that has something to do with how many people are actually using it at the same time. I don't think it would hurt for them to add a little bit more overhead on their CTN. It's about 20 nautical miles out to get them. I'm going to throw a little bit more fuel in there anyway. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the airports that gives the jumping parking spot when you get back. Funny is the whole aircraft is cleaned this time around after I did the wash. Right. And we're not going to be able to do those, you know, partial downloads until the marketplace is ready. And that's not happening in the first update. That's questionable even for the second update. Because they want to test the living daylights out of it, which they rightfully should do. You know, they need to test that before that launches. Otherwise, they're going to have... Man, that would be horrible. If they launch that marketplace and it doesn't work, that would be devastating for the brand. More so than things have already been. Yep, it's an interesting question there, SoCal. I think they kind of went a little bit in over their heads. They did not realize just how many systems would be affecting one another with this large of a change to the base sandbox. Because now every developer that puts an aircraft or scenery into the marketplace has to go through a procedure to make sure that it is compatible with both 2020 and 2024. And the language for the devs isn't clear enough, so there's just so much confusion happening in the background that they need to not only test it, they need to reword how they're telling developers to create content. They've got their hands more than full, man. I do not envy any one of them. And you could see just how much it affected Jorg in his overall response. Seemed like he was genuinely concerned about how this was going. Yeah, I don't know, Samurai. Good question. Yep. Everything is going to get migrated one by one eventually if it's capable of being done server side. They just need to make sure that there's no ripple effect once that is the case. I think a lot of the assets are already made, they just haven't been refined. Like, even though we're able to do the search and rescue missions in the H125, there's still little itty-bitty things that have been wrong with it that have been fixed since. And that's happening without a full-size update, so. It's going to be a long journey with this simulator, though. And were all 1,000 of these bugs truly tested? Because 1,000 bugs to thoroughly vet the solution for, when you have a team of a couple hundred or whatever it may be, and you're talking about the entire planet. That's a lot of work, man. Interesting. You've seen mods released for Spider-Man 2 the day it launched. I agree, SoCal. I actually have a feeling that that may have been something like that that affected the relationship between High Performance Group and Microsoft. Because as far as I know, I mean, I'm still, again, I want clarification on it, but during that Microsoft dev stream, he put up all of the logos of the partner companies, and HPG was not one of them anymore. I don't know what changed, if anything. Maybe there was a slide missing in the presentation. But, HPG is making aircraft for this already working. And they're making money off of it, selling them, so I wouldn't blame them at all either. Especially when they have a working search and rescue platform already in place. And their model of search and rescue, which works and functions perfectly in the 145, was ignored for the base simulator, and they went a different route. That's kind of a slap in the face. Again, I want clarification on it, though. We're not going to get so lucky with the proximity for this mission. I do enjoy the different layers of clouds here, though. Agreed. Samurai, dude, you bring up a really good point. They're smart enough to put something like this on the market, but even after they've launched so many games in the past, even not just games, but pieces of software that you have to thoroughly vet and test before you launch it. Haven't you learned the lesson of about beta and alpha and test already? I mean, you carry the name Microsoft, for crying out loud. It's crazy. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Somebody had commented that they think that somebody was just pushing it for a quick launch just to get the bonus. And I was like, ooh, bold, but probably not far off. Because this was rushed, there's no question about it. I don't think they had enough people. I think they were in over their heads and they didn't have enough staff. They're relying too heavily on AI and the public to do their testing. After launch. Because they can make their money off of it and continue to pay people off of those profits to fix their issues while they are working in the background on creating 2028 or other software. And my thing is like, okay, if you have such a great sandbox to work in right now, why do we need another one? Why can't we just continually improve this one? Why do we have to constantly go back and reinvest in a simulator that's going to be broke again? Smoke, smoke, smoke. This one has also become very interesting to get completed without crashing. There's a few different ways to approach it. So there's a ledge either below or right next to the smoke. Not bad so far. It's all about coming into a hover and just barely resting the skids there. Shouldn't be too bad of a recovery time, maybe like a 93, 94%. I'm loving the atmospherics today. Looking real good. I mean, these atmospherics look great. I would like to see some light rays happening there, like the God ray kind of effect happening in the clouds back there. Look not bad. I also found it interesting that they brought up the force quit as a method of cleaning out the cache for platforms like the Xbox. And they noticed that even if you were doing a force quit, it would still come back in the same session. So instead of you actually quitting and it coming back into a brand new fresh set of data, it was actually coming back the same way you left it, thinking that you never force quit at all. And then he goes on to talk about like how much they want to recommend for your cache. And honestly, you can pretty effectively fly this thing with no cache if your internet speed is fast enough and your graphics settings are right and tweaked. I think it's more about the VRAM than anything. And I'm really, really close to pulling the trigger on a second 2080 Ti graphics card. I think that's what I'm going to wind up doing, is finding a twin to the card that I have now and doing a bridge between the two. Because at that point, I should be able to ultra everything and put some of those sliders above the 100 mark. And then really see what this thing is supposed to look like. Because even though people are getting, you know, ultra settings to work out of their machines, I don't really sliders above 100 for like the terrain detail and things along those lines. If anyone has, I'd be willing to take a peek at what they've seen. Oh yeah, bro, for more than just weeks. I wanted to do it when I was flying in 2020. I think the problem is going to be finding one. got the bridge. I just need the card. The GoFundMe page. It's actually something I've never really been a true fan of, is the GoFundMe page, unless it's, you know, if along the lines of, yeah, I need medical help and I can't afford my bills sort of a thing. I'm the kind of guy that just likes to earn it. Honestly, though, the results aren't horrible with just a single 2080 Ti. They could obviously be better, but I'm not mad. What is it? Oh, man. Come on. Oh, my goodness. And there goes that S rating one more time. This never just could. Oh, it just cracks me up. It's so stupid. What a fucking waste of time. But I will say that it only gets, you know, okay, I'm losing 10 credits by doing that. Big deal, right? I mean, but still, what a waste of time. You found 24 2080 Ti RTX cards listed on the auction. Oh, is that stupid or what? So this one's going to take a transfer. This one shouldn't be too expensive. Let's go ahead and back up. So what are we at here? 2 completed missions, 3 failed? May the odds be ever in your favor. And even though you found 24 of them, I need to find the exact match. Needs to have duplicate architecture between the two. This is so painful. So it seems like when there's no wind, that's when you get the problems with the ground effect more than anything? Is that what's going on here? I don't know. We've had some pretty windy conditions from the start. I appreciate it, SoCal. one more time, huh? The issue was the chopper was clean. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, because look at how dirty this thing is now, one flight later. That's an interesting observation, SoCal. Huh. Very interesting. Huh. Never actually put the two of those together. Post salvage, it should be dirty. Okay. But it looks cleaner from here than it does like when you're walking up next to it. Like at least the skids for the most part. You know, there's a lot more degradation on the skids than there is here. Oh, these stupid turnarounds at the end of the runway too. This is so ridiculous. Well, it's already got me a climb, so let's see if we can just do it. It's gonna let me. I like that. We'll just skip that whole taxi. I can't believe that last mission crashed. This is the worst search and rescue track record flight that I've had in quite a while, actually. I wonder if I should be going back into the maintenance of the aircraft after a crash. $160 for a 2080 Ti is a steal. And it's kind of concerning how cheap that is. I mean, even though it's not a really relevant card anymore, 160? And when they are stupidly priced, it raises a lot of questions, right? Yeah, especially since now they're all with like the 50 series already. I mean, they're coming out with more and more technology quicker than ever, honestly. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, as long as I can keep the legacy stuff working, and I'm okay with it. I'll upgrade eventually, but wait till it's been around for a while. I think we've learned the lesson about that, huh? See, and right now I'm getting a lot of harsh edges on the clouds, and it doesn't look as dispersed as it should. I don't know. Yeah, I'm actually seeing some of that grained effect in like the smaller pieces of clouds. Like right now, even in the middle of the screen, you can see several of them are just sort of pixelating, dancing. And I think my volumetric cloud setting right now is at high, not ultra. There's a lot of anti-aliasing in the forest down below where that's sort of flickering. Another one that's not close to base at all. Are you talking about the config file change where you change the super scaling or whatever it was? Like there's a sample, super sampling? Super resolution or something like that. I forget what it's called. But you have to change that value from 1 to 2. I believe at this point my settings have that back to the original 1:1 super scaling. And I'm using the new DLSS file that I get through DLSS Swapper. It's a .opt file that you have to change. I have that back to 1:1. Like I was saying earlier, the hopping helicopter had something to do with that specifically. So as soon as they came out with the new DLSS, that's when I got the hopping helicopter again. And I fixed it by changing that super sampling in the opt file back down to 1:1, and then readjusting the settings in Sim with the new DLSS and a graphics driver update. And it seemed to be working fine after that. All right, we are finally coming up on our search area. Like that looks horrible. But those are all, again, my graphic settings are just set too aggressively right now. Alright, SoCal, you know we'll be here. Smoke, smoke, smoke. This is another one that gets a little bit tricky. There's only a limited amount of room to come down. I am using comms, but it is not allowing me to trigger that next step. So I already know things are going to get interesting. Does not have a firm grip on the ground. The only thing I can do is find a way to trigger the comms. I use the keyboard shortcut instead of my control shortcut. Oh, I don't. Oh, it wanted to do it to me again. This thing is so stupid. Yeah, you guys fixed it all right. Can we eliminate these stupid cutscenes? This is going to kill more missions than absolutely anything. Ugh. All right, at least we got him out. Because that parking brake trick we had learned earlier is no longer working. Where you going, buddy? I have no control over my helicopter at this point whatsoever. I have zero control. I have lost all control. I am forcefully moving around all of my controls and getting absolutely no response out of anything except for the camera. Alright, because we're on a drone camera. Let's see what happens if we go inside. How did we get to a drone camera? That was interesting. Okay. Well, I guess. It just randomly gets into a drone camera. At least I was at altitude. Man, if that would have happened in, like, on takeoff, I mean, that would have been a disaster. It's a long road back too. I'm still not seeing any links or shortcuts in that chat at all. Asayos. Is this the airport with the most O's in the name of the airport? See, I'm getting more of that pixelation in the clouds just there to about the 11 o'clock position over the helicopter, even right above it. Most of the like medium gray clouds get the pixels. Not too bad on the location time either. Should do pretty well with this one. If it lets me. There I go, jinxing it again. Quite a bit of smearing too. Overall, not bad. The other thing I like about the 145 more than this too is that you're actually transporting the survivors back to a hospital of your choice. And it's just not flying in circles. You don't have to go all the way back out to the menu system to get into the next mission. You could just keep going. It's much more realistic than this will ever be. They would have to do a complete overhaul of this to get it to work the way it should. And I don't think they're going to pay that much attention to helicopters this time around, and they're going to try to pay more attention to that in 2028. You did a search for the airport with the most O's? What's the name of it? The link didn't show up. I can't see what the name of it is. Can you copy just the name of the airport and throw it in there instead of the link? Alphabet soup. Yeah, that's bizarre that it won't show. Especially if you're only trying to like share the name of it and not as a link. I'll have to do the same search here. You can break it down as a sentence. I love it. Solid A for effort, bro. What? That is a mouthful and a half, bro. That's like somebody just rolling their knuckles on the keyboard for a little while and be like, yep, that's what we're gonna call it. That's an actual place, bro. Alphabet soup is one way to put it, man. Shaken and stirred. That's fabulous. They don't use vowels. Ever. Holy cow. I can't even begin to try to pronounce that. Lawn fair. How about that? We'll call it lawn fair. They've got to use some kind of shortened version of that. Like I just said, like maybe it is just lawn fair. Or they just call it tower. I wonder how it appears in Sim. See if you could locate that spot in Sim and put a screenshot like up on the Discord or something. Picturesque Isle. Alright, so this is coming in runway 30 according to my EFB. Is it going to put me behind the final? Oh, this thing is so stupid. Not like I'm trying to follow the patterns to a T, obviously. Situated on the picturesque Isle of Anglesey in Wales, this village's name holds the title for one of the longest place names in the world, with 58 letters. And that is one to grow on. That's comical. 58 letters. Let's see if it shows the, I'm in the pattern here. I'm like right in it. Why isn't it triggering it? There we go. Guess you just gotta go super slow, huh? My goodness. Alright, let's see if we can do this without flipping crashing it again. Of course, you got to go all the way to the other side of the airfield, and then the hold short's going to be like maybe 10 yards away from the park. Maybe a little more than 10 yards. Just put the van right here too at the same time. He's just going to creep right into my parking spot and then vanish. Gotta love that. Oh, there's an audio pronunciation of it too? Okay, yeah, now you've got me down a rabbit hole that I will get into after we're done with the stream too. Another one in the books, finally. Hopefully it kicks that rating back up to S too. Could really use one of those right about now. I appreciate that. Pilot level 275. I think I've got a couple hours under my belt at this point. Couple too many. Go to the 170 mark again, even though there's no wind. Wind up doing another maintenance check on the old bird after this one anyway. Yeah, I mean, the graphics here are so much better than 2020. It's just hands down. I'd be curious to see what 1,000 bug fixes at one time is going to do to the situation, though. 99% localization time. This will definitely give us that S rating. Not a bad amount of XP, but nothing really to write home about. It's the rating that I need. There we go. And with that, up to level 276 at this point. We've had some success, we've had some failure. Not too shabby. 5.6 million on the overall. And if we refresh this, let's see where we're at here. 1.3 million for the company. I think what I should actually do is go check on the maintenance of all of my aircraft at this point. Let's get back into my all companies here for a second, specifically with all of these, because I've got a couple of them. And we're going to spend a little coin, but that's all right. Do the checkup on each one of these. I'm not going to wash them all. When you do have this many aircraft to manage, it gets a little bit interesting keeping track of which ones you have maintained and which ones you haven't. I would also like to see like their location information attached to this little thumbnail here as well, so you could tell which aircraft is in which location. Ooh, ton of maintenance to be done on this one. 300,000, 11,000, 24,000. It's adding up. There's an English translation for it too. St. Mary's Church in the hollow of White Hazel near a rapid whirlpool and the Church of St. Cecilio near the Red Cave. Wow. And they put all of that into one word? Not only do they not like vowels, but they don't like spaces. Oh. So now we're going to go back, and I believe it is the 5th. Nope, see this is where it gets interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4 on screen now. We're going to go to this one. Wow. Almost every single aircraft we're getting to is having duplicate maintenance required. Engine worn. Dumping through quite a bit of money right now. So we're on number 6. Finally, one without repairs. That's probably the one we're flying. Here comes number 7. This is the hoist. I haven't been flying this one at all. Still need maintenance because it's working out there passively for 61,000. I believe this is number 8. Yeah, okay. Here comes number 9. Man, getting smashed with this maintenance cost today. I haven't even touched the other 2 companies. This is only search and rescue. I think I may have missed this one. I'm not sure. Nope. Okay, so it is just one more to go. The last one. Holy. Woo! Electrical systems for 200. Landing gear for 24. Hydraulics for 11. Man, this has been a costly trip to the mechanic's office today. There goes $2 million in maintenance fees, just like that. And that is only the search and rescue fleet. Our cargo everywhere. It's going to need a little bit of maintenance here as well. Electrical systems is 209,000. That had a little bit of an exclamation point on it there. So yeah, it's good to have a lot of aircraft, but it's also very costly to maintain. Coming up to the 2.5 million mark for just maintenance today. That's why I think it's going to be important to get this to a point where it only takes me 1 hour of flight time to earn at least 1 million credits. The problem is finding that balance. And so far the maintenance on these 125s is some of the lowest maintenance I've seen. And if you got to do one, you got to do them all. There you go. All right, we're back into a working configuration and dropped nearly $3 million just to maintain our fleet. Yeah, 13 aircraft is an impressive thing to have in your hangar, but it is an expensive thing to have in your hangar. Great way to get those missions back, obviously, is to run out into the Gulf and do a whole bunch of the 100,000 credit missions that take 10 minutes apiece to do. And that's probably what I'm going to wind up doing. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you very much for everyone joining us today and chiming in. Samurai, it's great to see you back as usual. I appreciate your interaction. SoCal Jerry, don't know if he ever made it back, but, you know, I appreciate him being here every single time. We had a couple of newbies at the very top of the stream to thank, too. I just really appreciate everybody being here. It is always a blast. It is a ball. Ladies and gentlemen, for now, that's it. That's all. I will see you in the next one.